Alright guys, today we're going to work on doing some conversions, and you guys are going to have this on your reference sheet for the test. So I wanted to make sure that we know how to convert between some of these things. So today we're going to be working with pints, cups, quarts, and gallons. So for every 1 pint, there are 2 cups, which means, let's say I have this pint of ice cream. That means I could split it in half, and that means there are 2 cups worth of ice cream in there. For every 1 quart, there are 2 pints, and for every 1 gallon, there are 4 quarts. So let's work on converting these. Alright, let's look at this first one. How many cups are in 6 pints? Well, I know that there are 2 cups per pint, and that's for 1 pint, and I have 6 pints. So all I have to do here is multiply by 6. 2 times 6 is 12, which means there are 12 cups for 6 pints, which makes sense because, again, if I want to divide this down, 12 divided by 6 is 2 cups for 1 pint. So all we had to do there was multiply by 6. There are 12 cups for 6 pints. Let's move on to a harder one. Alright guys, here's a harder one. How many cups are there in 3 quarts? Well, I need to look at my reference sheet and figure out what I know. I know that in terms of quarts, there are 2 pints per quart. Make sure that what I'm writing down, you're writing down as well. And I know that for every pint, there are 2 cups. So what I want to do here is get our pints to cancel out to figure out how many cups there are per quart. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to multiply these numbers together. My pints will cancel out because I'm cross-multiplying. Now I'm just left with cups and quarts. And now I'm going to multiply my numbers together. 2 times 2 is 4. And this means there are 4 cups for every 1 quart. But we're not finished yet because we haven't answered our question, which is how many cups are there in 3 quarts. If there are 4 cups per quart, but I have 3 quarts, I'm just going to multiply by 3. And that means there are 12 cups for every 3 quarts. Which again makes sense because 12 divided by 3 is 4. And I could divide that again by 2 and get 2 cups per pint. So our answer here, 12 cups for 3 quarts. Let's go on to a harder one. Alright guys, let's look at this one. How many cups for 3.5 gallons? Well, I'm going to have to do a lot of converting here, so let's start off with what we know. I know there are 4 quarts for every 1 gallon. I also know there are 2 pints for every 1 quart. And I also know there are 2 cups for every pint. So what I'm going to start out with is try to figure out how many cups there are for 1 gallon. And then I can figure out how many cups there are for 3.5 gallons. So I want to convert down as much as possible. So I'm going to take my 4 quarts, and I want to convert this down to see how many pints there are per gallon. And then we can go from that, we can go to cups. So there are 4 quarts per gallon. I'm going to multiply that by 2 pints per gallon, 2 pints per quart, to get my quarts to cancel out. If I multiply this, my quarts cancel, and I'm left with pints per gallon. 4 times 2 is 8, which means there are 8 pints per gallon. All right, now I'm in pints per gallon. I still need to get to cups per gallon. So if I know there are 8 pints per gallon, and I want to get down to cups, I know there are 2 cups per pint. So all I'm going to do to get my pints to cancel out is go ahead and multiply 8 pints per gallon times 2 cups per pint. This will get my pints to cancel out, and I'm left with cups per gallon. 8 times 2 is 16, which means there are 16 cups per gallon. Now, we're not quite finished yet because we need to figure out how many cups there are for 3.5 gallons. So I'm going to quickly erase some of this stuff to give me some more space, and then we'll solve that last bit. All right, let's finish this off. If I know there are 16 cups per gallon, and I need to figure out 3.5 gallons, I can just multiply that number by 3.5. If I do that, 16 times 3.5 is 56, which means there are 56 cups for 3.5 gallons, which again makes sense because 56 divided by 3.5 is 16. So our final answer here is 56 cups per gallon. All right, guys, let's practice this.